By DJ Event Planner, Electra Voice, DJ Trivia and DJ Bingo, ProX Direct, NLFX Pro, Promo Only, Odyssey Cases, Perfect Portals, JMOZ Lighting, Instant DJ Requests, and our DJNTV Insiders. This is John Young from DJNTV. Thanks for watching.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hanging with Howie. I have and this is for Brian, my road dogs with me tonight.
Do a shot.
You know everybody here already. And
sponsored by Red Bull.
Sponsored by Red Bull, yeah.
And Tito.
Breakfast of Champions.
Well, and I've seen you drink it at night, too. Yeah.
My wife
Gotta
said
quit that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Quit it. It's bad for you.
Well,
as he hits his bike.
I was waffling between whether or not I should, retire, when I hit 70. And I just saw my doctor, and she gave me a pretty neat piece of advice, as well as Brian did this past week. And she said, don't retire. Everything came back just fine. I don't take medication except for that radiation stuff I had. And she said, what happens is people that retire from something they love and then they have nothing to do, they don't last long. So she said, I'd recommend you don't retire. And Brian gave me some great advice about, paring down with the smaller system and so forth like that, which I can do. And so I'm going to start with Brian. Brian, what was your advice to me? Because it's difficult to get help these days.
Well, I had the same problem when, what happened to me in 2011. And I mean, I had some really good pals that wanted to jump in and help. But, well, let's be honest, these guys, had careers and lives and things. So I wasn't particularly a priority. I found that the stress of these people perhaps not showing up on time or being a little late, or what was really bad for me. I mean, that was terrible. I mean, it was always totally in control of my world, as a DJ. And then when I got to rely on somebody else, and the bar fight they got in the night before, or the breakup they had with their girlfriend, or emergency with the kid thing, now what? I was in a situation where I had to scramble to find somebody. I mean, I was hours away from the gig. I had to find somebody to go with me to help me. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people gave me a lot of advice on social media when I would, hey, here's my problem. What do I do? Something they didn't say was, hey, let's design the system that you can handle yourself so you don't have to worry about this. So, I mean, I did that. And despite people telling me that it wasn't possible, I did it.
Right.
And it cost money.
Right.
Okay. And I operated at a loss for a minute, but I stayed in the game. That's what I had to do. But I think I'll just quickly say, I can expand on that later if you have any questions on exactly how I did it. But what I will say is, I think the first step is you have to want to do it. If you don't really want to do it, it's okay. It's okay that you're done. If you're done, you can always find excuses not to do things. You can always find excuses to do things. If you've got more excuses to do things than not to do things, then you should consider that anything is possible. You just have to go out there and figure it out. And there's not always a clear roadmap as to how to do this.
Right.
But I think now more than ever, it's easier with the gear that's out there available to you. And there are people out there who have done it since and can help you if there's something you really want to do. But that's the first step. You got to want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Today there was a huge thread on one of the groups, like idea sharing or something like that, where there were guys in their 30s retiring because they can't. No, I'm not
I think
kidding.
we've all been doing it for more than 30 years total, you know.
No, I mean, and then, but the majority of them were getting out anywhere starting at age 40 or 50.
Yeah.
If I make it to 50, I'm out. And I'm like, whoa, I'm going to be 20 years past them guys. And, you know, some of us here are not too far off. Let
me give you a
that's
little...
what prompted that. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I was going to say, you know, I look at things a little bit differently. I'm 55. I've been doing this. My first gig was right out of college. So that puts me at 20. The knowledge that we've gained, that we have in our noggins, is 20 years deeper than people that are 30 years old getting out of the game, 40 years old getting out of the game. If you're to jump in this thing right now in the last 10 years, with the advent of iPhones, iPods, Pandora, streaming services, it's a whole different ballgame out there. You know, and somebody asked me the other day what the most difficult part of DJing is, aside from carrying things and the physical labor of it, is the fact that people now have the ability to quickly skip through a song. And I feel like they only listen to maybe to the first bridge and then they're out, you know? So that's changed the game of how we have to do things. And our programming, I think, is different. I know that in the last few years, I've changed the way I do things. You know, I mean, what do you guys say?
I think it depends on your audience, you know?
Yeah. I noticed that
right?
I noticed that you did the TikTok type videos up in Lake Placid, and that went over pretty well.
Yeah, you know, and with the TikTok, I mean, the kids their attention span seems to be so much shorter. They aren't tolerant of, well, I guess it's always been the same way. You know, they're not tolerant of introducing new music to them. I love to introduce new songs, but kids these days, I find, instead of giving me that 15, 20 seconds of a song to give it a chance, boom, they're out. Because normally if they're on Pandora and they don't like a song, quickly the thumb down there to the next song. But I'm like, hey, hang on, this is good. Just give it a second. Let's get into this, you know? And there they go.
Well,
I think we're lucky that there's always going to be a crowd for us to work. I don't think it's getting out of the game. I think it's picking your crowd.
Yes.
Like don't sign up to do a high school prom. But that's not where you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but you've also got avenues now. And I think to what Eric said, you know, Twitch to me is a perfect example. You know what I don't see on Twitch? Young DJs. I don't see 20-year-old DJs on Twitch. I really don't. Yeah. I see 40, 50, 60-year-old DJs on Twitch killing it. And I see them expressing themselves with a theme, with no real audience per se. As you know, Brian said, there is no per se an audience in front of you. There's people in a chat who you may or may not know, but you have to go out and subscribe a playlist and a mood and an atmosphere. That's not something a 20-year-old is comfortable doing. So I think the advantages of being an older DJ, I think they're always going to be on our side and not against us. Yeah, the gear is heavy. You can answer that.
Sure.
Yeah, there's parties that you're not going to fit in anymore or that you don't want to fit into regardless. I know 21-year-olds that won't do high school events. So, you know, I think you pick and choose where you work. I think it only allows you to expand upon who you are as a DJ. I don't think it stifles you. If anything, it allows for growth.
It's funny you say that, Jay. I've thought about this before, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned it publicly, but I didn't like doing schools when I was in school. I mean, I just didn't want to play to that crowd.
Right.
And yeah, I wanted to do something very different than that. I mean, that's the artist in me. And also knowing what I'm capable of and what I'm going to excel at. So I knew I would excel with playing to folks older than myself. I knew that I would do well with that. And I'm at the time older than me. We're talking about mid-20s. You know, when I was a teenager, that was my audience because I was a little more, you know, I was less mainstream and a little more what's next, or I was trying to be. And the high schoolers are followers, man. I mean, they're just, you know, hey, this is what you're supposed to like, and you're either this tribe or this tribe or this tribe. I was not interested in it when I was in school, let alone now.
Right.
So you got to know your audience.
Well, and that's always been my argument when people talk about hiring a DJ. I said, you know, you judge a DJ, the specifics of judgment become really skewed. If you go to a club that's doing disco Thursday and they have 3 DJs and they all play disco all night, when you leave and I say, how was the club? You say, oh, we had a blast, man. What was it? Oh, it was a disco night. How were the DJs? They were really good. They played disco. Okay, well, that's pretty obvious, you know. So. But when you're a wedding DJ and you're doing corporate events, you don't have that luxury. You have a room full of people that you have to immediately and quickly assess. And I think that skill level only gains more quality as you do it longer.
For sure.
So I think somebody like Howie, Brian, myself, John, you, Eric, we're in a position.
I think he called me old.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, and Bill, and everyone that's really in the chill room.
Everybody in here
is in a position where
we're veterans.
You get to go out and do the events. I've done 3 bar mitzvahs in the last 4 years. I've really enjoyed them because it's so an audience that it's that challenge of they take one look at me and go, oh, what happened to that other DJ? And I'm there and I kill it. And I get to walk away and go, cool, I expanded my base of operations. They had a good time. And then the family calls you back. But it's not an event that I'm advertising for any more than the quinceañera I did a few weeks ago. I probably asked JC along with 20 other DJs, so what's this secret dance thing? And what am I doing with the chord? And how do I do the intro? But I don't want to ever pigeonhole myself that I'm only capable of doing this.
For sure.
I think what you're essentially saying in a roundabout way is don't try to be everything to everyone. Just know who your target
I think and be comfortable.
Them.
Right, but be comfortable. Like if you want to go out on the net, like what I love about Twitch is I'm never going to go out and play that much freestyle or old school funk or this and that. But Twitch allows me to take the challenge of this is what we're doing. It's Jimmy Spin's birthday. Play what Jimmy Spin would like. Okay. Yeah. It's not music I'm a big fan of, but if you're going to do something, damn it, do it well, or at least attempt.
Yeah. Kind of going back to what Howie was initially trying to ask about, which was, you know, okay, I'm on the verge here. What do I do? I've got some health things. I've got some things that are going on with me that's making it difficult for me to load in and load out by myself.
Yep.
Carry this stuff. Maybe I should retire. What I'm hearing here, and he hasn't essentially said it, was talk me out of it. So this is that what you're saying, Howie? I mean, did I do okay with that?
I think you nailed it. And, you know, the doctor confirmed it. So
talk me out of retiring is what Howie's asking tonight. So
well, I don't want to die in 3 years, you know, so I'm going to listen to the doctor, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, live your life, man. I mean, do you enjoy doing events?
Yeah.
Okay, well, stop right there. You need to keep doing events. You just got to figure out how to do them now.
Rolling the gear in and out is the least important part of the event. It's knowing what to play and making it work. You can always have someone to do that stuff.
Yeah. Do you think the Rolling Stones are hauling their own crap?
It was the original premise of this is like, are you guys having trouble getting help?
Yeah, we kind of worked around a different topic. I know. I think
if you find someone in your area, Howie, if you were to go to a school that had a music program and start some sort of a mentorship with the school and say, I'm doing these events, I'd love to get an intern to help me load the gear and then teach them something that they could do for the rest of their lives and be profitable at. I think you'd have a line of kids that might be interested in being that assistant.
I would hope so, but I think what I'll probably have to do, which I'm still able to do, is I've done this on several occasions where I'll hire somebody to help me load in and set up. And here you go. Here's $100. You go home, and then I can tough it out. That way, I'm fresh for the event.
Exactly. You're not exhausted. You're not tired.
Then I do the loadout.
You're sharp.
And a tip I picked up from Brian is load the vehicle the day before, have that rest, and then, pay the guy $100. Hey, $100, hour or two worth of work, and see you later. And then
I have found it.
I can load the gear back up and then just come home and sit in the recliner and go.
Yep.
Well, you got to stand for 6 hours too.
And
I can tell you from experience, being disabled myself, the worst for me is bending over and picking up all of my par cans at the end of the night.
Your back is like,
this is a relatively new thing. I can do it now, but after 6 hours on my feet, especially if I'm on some kind of plywood stage or some crap like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And what I try to do, what I've done before, when I just literally cannot do it, I try to find little kids. Hey, you want to play a game? Sure. Hey, grab these lights and put them in this case.
How fast can you do it?
I can, because I'm just in pain trying to do this. So I think it's almost difficult to find help sometimes. And I think the old school thought was find someone who's interested in music and DJing and all that. No, I don't think you should find that person. Find somebody who's working as a stock boy at the grocery store who's making nothing
an hour. Yeah.
But they've been there for 10 years. They're like 30 and they're not going anywhere. Hey, you want to make yourself $200 on a Saturday?
And then they rob you blind the next day when you're asleep. Forget that kid too.
No, that's what you need. Don't find anybody who wants to DJ, because when you find somebody who's interested in DJing, you're not going to keep them because they're going to go off and do their own thing.
Exactly.
Find somebody who's young enough to carry the stuff, but not as interested in music and can plug crap in, like a stereo installer or something. That's the guy you want.
Well, how about
That's just what I think.
Bill and John, are you still lugging the big speakers?
Well,
or do you get help?
I did this crazy thing, because everybody said, oh, go with the column array speakers. They'll really lighten your load and speed up your setup. Ever since switching to the current setup I have, I went from a 1-cart load in to a 2-cart load in. It takes me a little longer to get everything done. And
wow.
But that's because I'm crazy meticulous. And I do things a certain way, and if I were to have a helper, I would be spending more time in the first month doing it for them in hopes of showing them how to do it than I would relaxing and letting them do the work.
It's exhausting to direct. It is.
It is.
And so in that regard, but at the same time, to the subject of considering even walking away, I used to say that when I'm old enough to DJ the wedding of the kids for somebody that I went to school with, I'm done. Well, I did that wedding over 10 years ago. So
move the bar a little further.
I can't be done.
Not done yet.
But it was the source.
Too senile to remember that quote.
Yeah. But
you did the wedding, the baby shower, right?
All right. When I did the wedding for the people that were kids of the people that I knew when I was in school, then I'm done.
Yeah. And I think in some ways you don't have to walk away. You just do less, as long as you're comfortable with it.
Right.
Do fewer events and make it quality over quantity.
Right.
But
right.
I also used to say, like Brian said, the stock boy or the retail worker. I've always felt that good retail workers make good DJ helpers and potentially future DJs. I also have always believed that good restaurant servers make good DJs. There was a time over the last 10 or so years pre-COVID where they were making more money on a Friday or Saturday night than I could pay them though. And so that became a hard area to recruit from. Right now, they're like, I don't want to work in a restaurant anymore. You know,
get me out of here.
And so
give me a reason.
I actually had a guy that I talked to a long time ago about working, reach out to me and said, hey, I'm starting to do event production stuff in college. And I was like, why are you in college? He goes, I went back to school because COVID. Oh, okay. And now he's like, if you ever need a roadie, you ever need a helper, I'm there for you.
Here's the weirdo part with the whole thing. And this is just the kind of stuff that unfortunately I've learned from experience. Say you find the guy to help you. And let's say it all looks good and everything else. You're still relying on another human being for your livelihood. They have to be there. If they call in sick, now what? You got to have a backup plan, which is why I decided that it was a good idea to start thinking about, if I had to, how would I do it?
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
So with a gun to my head, okay, this is what we have to do. There's no one available. It's all you. What do you do? Would you do it without lights? Would you do it with one speaker? How would you do it? And you take that and you walk through every little step of it. Because you don't miss a step here, because you think all is well and you get somewhere and there's stairs. Now what?
Yeah.
Because everything relied on you rolling it in. But now you got stairs. So there's a problem. Winding cables, plugging things in, packing things up, loading it up, getting it back into your house, the troubleshoot, all of this stuff, man. It's all part of the equation. As a DJ who's been on the road for a long time, as a sound guy, you know this. You know, this stuff happens.
I think the mental aspect is more than we give it credit. While Brian was just talking, I realized I did 5 years, 5 very successful years of my business, busier than I am now, with a 1996 Chrysler Sebring convertible. And that's 70, 75 events a year.
Yeah.
And not one of those events complained that I didn't bring enough of anything. I decided that I wanted the convertible so badly that I would make the lighting, the speakers, the backup, the cables, the suit, everything had to work. And it meant that every gig, I had to put the top down and load the car, put the top up, get to the gig, put the top down, unload, load it, get home and unload it. Every gig, I used a Chrysler Sebring convertible.
And that was before he was carrying around 400 pounds of extra cables.
But that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
the 3 bags of cable.
So I think there's that aspect of you wake up tomorrow, Howie, and go, you know what? I agree with everything. The doctor's right. I got to keep going. Okay, step 1, what gear do I need? What gear do I have? How do I first approach this? Because Brian's right. If you have an assistant and they blow you off, you have to be capable. Take every little bit and like, you guys may laugh at this. I don't know. I wear Doc Martens to every event. I have since I started. I'm one of the few people my age as a DJ I know that you'll never hear me say, oh, my back, oh, my legs. And I am, whether it's mental, placebo, or physical, I am convinced something is wearing Doc Marten airsoft shoes has gotten me through every single gig.
I feel great.
Hey, you know what, Brian? I mean, I'm getting out of the
hour in the Zima.
12 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours later.
No, I know you do.
First time I sit, and I'm not sitting down going, oh my God, I can't get back up. I mean, I understand with age things change, but it's just any little tiny thing.
The right shoes are important. Yeah, absolutely.
Something, and
for sure. And that's another topic. Serious topic.
Yeah. Well, the other would be, to have more than one helper, Howie.
I wear black New Balance sneakers. That's.
Yeah, I've gone to all black Nike running shoes.
I do too.
They all on a cushion,
All black. Yep.
What I have to learn to do is retire these things, before they're no longer doing their job. Because right now they're old. I got to get new ones. I need new insoles. I need new shoes. I need laces. I need these special things in my condition. But yeah, you got to know when to go ahead and retire them suckers. As much as it hurts to spend the money, you got to spend the money sometimes.
Yeah,
for years,
that's where I'm at right now.
Leather, nice shiny tuck shoes. What a fool!
Yeah.
I get done and my feet would be
I'm looking at your damn feet.
That's what I determined. I'm like, I'm behind
Martens are shoes, not sneakers. So there's the argument of, okay, it's not a shoe, but it's not. I mean, I'll be honest. Today, I don't think anyone cares if you wear sneakers. Right. Those big highfalutin DJs are wearing
black and you're wearing
Yeezys.
Pants. Nobody's going to notice.
No,
right?
And I'll be honest. I have 2 pairs of them, and they're the most comfortable shoes I've ever put on. But I don't wear them because I want to resell them. But if you've got the money, go spend $400 and get Yeezys. They're insanely comfortable. Like that's why they're so expensive. But again, I think the gear is the main thing. Take a lead from Brian. I mean, you've got a laptop. You use virtual, right?
I'm a Serato guy.
Serato.
You could get away with a small SB, about this big controller. That could feed any set of speakers you have, put a little facade around the table. Nobody cares what size the gear is. I mean, there's definitely ways in the technology of today. I think I told you guys, we're showing gear at DJ Expo running on an iPad with 0 latency. And it's running a $30 program, $40 program, the algorithm DJ Pro. And it's so far, we've tested it. It's been flawless. It's on an iPad. So there goes the weight of a laptop versus an iPad. I think there's ways to critically rethink your gear.
When it comes to the equipment, though, the best analogy that I can think of for this, it's hot rodding. You think about what hot rodders do. They take a stock car, they strip it down to its bare essentials, they make it run as fast and well as it can, but they got to get the weight down. So they get rid of all the BS. Pull the carpet out, they take the freaking rust proofing off of it, the undercoating, because that weighs 20 pounds or whatever. And they do lightweight rims and they do all these things, but they still want the speed, So you keep that in mind. I want the speed, but I need to take the weight down. It's hot rodding, is what you're doing with your DJ system. So, okay, I need a lighter speaker, but I need a better one. And I need a lighter mixing board, but I need a more potent one. I mean, that's how I did it, just throwing that out there. That's the mindset on it anyway. Trimming the fat, basically, Do you not? Okay, I have 6 lights. Do I need 6 lights? Maybe I'd give out with 4. Would anybody say a word if I brought 4? How about 3? Is 3 okay? How about there 3 really good lights? Well, maybe 3 really good lights would work.
I had always had the mindset that, hey, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. And at this point, I would uplight the whole entire room. It's like, all right, do I need to do that? I don't think so. I think
hot rod it.
I can do the sweetheart table, the DJ booth, some lights on the dance floor. Boom.
Like Daft Punk said, harder, better, faster, stronger.
There you go.
Do half the lights with a diffuser on each light, so you're spreading more beam on the wall. Now you're getting this effect for half the lights, so you've cut the weight.
Yep.
The one thing no one's brought up, Howie, and I don't want to take your business away from you, but what about the reality of contacting a multi-op and saying, here's my conditions, but I'm available. The conditions are, if you give me a gig where there's gear there already, and I can just show up and DJ and then leave, and you take care of the gear end of it, I'm available. You'd be doing 2 gigs a week at a certain cost and not having to touch a piece of gear ever and still be a DJ and still make money.
It's very interesting that you say that, because this very week I was contacted by someone in Hunterdon County. They want only Hunterdon County. So you had to be a New Jersey resident. And so I was like, well, okay, what does this entail? What's the pay? are you going to have roadies go and set this up? And I just go in, and they went, oh, no. We'll do all the business part of it and just feed you gigs, and you got to go. And I'm like, I'm out. You know,
well,
like
pick your price, make it worth your while.
No, they wouldn't go over $750. And I'm like,
forget it then.
I was like, oh, forget it. You know?
Does anybody remember what I was doing in November when I went to Welcome to Rockville in Florida?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going in there tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
I told Howie I haven't told anybody else, but they've called me back. So I'm going to be in the shop working on the trailer tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do or where it's going to go. So I don't know if I'm going to go back on the road or if I'm just in as a consultant. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because, man, I don't touch gear when I'm there.
Yeah,
I direct people. Okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes there. Yep, plug that into there. Oh, hell yeah, you can daisy chain those. Go right ahead, run it over there. I don't touch anything because they know my situation, but they respect my talent and my art. And not only as a tech, but as a performer. So, you know, you can absolutely do this with help. I'm going to be doing, and you know, that you guys are, you know, a lot of you were concerned that I was going out there for like these 4, you know, days that I'm just, you know, doing 12-hour days and beating my brains out. No, I didn't touch any equipment. I didn't do any setup or breakdown either one of those times. The only thing I took down was the computer because, you know, I'm going to control that, but I didn't touch a speaker, a table, a mixer, nothing. Not a thing. Well, I mean, it happens.
Well, you're going to have to do something. I mean, you're going to have to work 12 hours without touching gear, but get paid really well. That's the price to pay, too.
I got paid very well.
Yeah,
I got paid very well, and I didn't touch any equipment.
Here you go. Do this. We'll pay you this. Okay.
No, they had roadies there for that. I mean, they had 4 people on duty for that.
No. I know. I'm saying you did the right thing for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like people were like, can Brian go 12 hours? I'm like, at the money he's making, I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing.
Oh, I knew I could. But at the end of the day, you know, after a 12-hour day or whatever it was, they weren't really 12. I think they were more like, well, it was collectively 12 hours, but I was on stage for 10 of those hours.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, of course, my back's scratched. Of course, I'm tired.
Playing music for 10 hours?
Most days. There were some days where I did not. There were days that I did, but I was present. You know, I was there. It's not like I went somewhere else. I didn't take an hour lunch or anything like that. I was there, you know, for whatever they might need me for, because I was teching as well. And again, the tech job wasn't me doing hands-on anything. It was consulting. It's a tech consultant job because I knew stuff they didn't know. They had guys who could plug things in and carry things, but they didn't have guys who knew how to do the things that I knew how to do.
I mean, Howie, you could contact all these multi-ops and go in for a price and train them on lighting and train them on DMX and charge an hourly, charge a weekly, charge a flat rate. Mm-hmm. And some of these places are going to say, you know what, it's worth $3,000 to get Howie in here, straighten us out. And then you look at what you make a gig and go, okay, this is the equivalent of me doing 4 weddings this month, but I get to work 3 days this week. I'm just a fan of, at the end of the day, what are you willing to do versus what are you willing to make? So I won't work for less than $2,000. It's like, okay, I'll work for $3,000, but I'll do it over 3 days if I guarantee $3,000.
You know who I'm thinking about right now, though? Does anybody here know Dylan Strauss? Strauss Entertainment.
I know Dylan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Dylan's wheelchair bound.
Yeah.
He has severe cerebral palsy.
Yes.
He has an event company. Yeah. Not only is he a DJ, but he has an event company. He's making dough. He drives a beautiful truck, or someone drives him around in a beautiful truck that he owns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's not touching any equipment unless he's DJing. Unless he's working a controller. And then he's doing it with the way he can do it. He's figured it out. It's all about workarounds, man.
Yeah, no, there's examples of what you want to do, Howie. I think ultimately it exists. I don't think your career's over by any stretch. I think it's all in your level of comfort.
Yeah, I'll be in it in one capacity or another, whether it's tutoring or doing these shows.
You better not quit. Yeah, I've got gigs lined up for you.
And I
need you next winter.
Yeah, and that, see, that's what excites me. Like, this beret thing that's coming up and the events I've done with you, like that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's recreational. it's fun stuff.
But when I get like, hey, you want to do this high school dance? Oh, hell no.
Right.
For $400. Yeah.
I mean, we'll speak slower and louder at Beret if that's helpful. I don't know if that's something that
A lot of you don't. Well, some of you know it, some of you don't. But my big sister in Phoenix.
Yep.
My sister is amazing, by the way. I love my sister. She's awesome. She's mom too, is what I call her, because she's quite a bit older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
She is, well, she has a very important job that only she can do. She goes in every day. She does about 60 hours a week. And she drives herself to work every day, drives herself home. She's built a beautiful home overlooking the city of Phoenix. It's right over that whatever the dome is there, the sport dome thing. It's like beeline down her street. You can see it. She's way up in the mountains. She's got an acre of land. It's like a resort when I go to her house. It's awesome to go to my sister's house. It's like, I don't need to go to Club Med. I go to Cindy's house. It's that cool. Wow. Cindy's worse off than I am physically. Cindy was in a severe boating accident about 4 months after my stroke. Broken neck, back in 2 places. She was in a coma for 3 weeks. Had a stroke while she was in the coma. Mm-hmm. She speaks very slow and soft. She moves very slow. If she's on the ground, she's a turtle. She can't get up. She's got to get help to get up. She can't do her hair. She can't dress herself. Yeah, it's like turtle.
Doesn't hear this.
Oh yeah, no, she can hear it. No, okay. Cindy's like me, but more of a badass, so she can take it. Cindy and I go back and forth. No, Cindy is a super badass. She's my hero. She's awesome. But,
all right.
But Cindy has said about disability to me.
So she's an alligator.
That it'd be very easy to give up. She understands. In fact, she doesn't even like belittle anybody for doing it. So if you're in a situation where it's hard, I understand if you don't want to do this anymore. I totally understand. She chooses not to because that's not who she is. But she's understood. You know, she's not berating anybody or looking down on anybody who just can't do it anymore. But that's not who she is. She wants to keep doing it. She wants to, I don't know, probably build another freaking mansion or something in a couple of years. That's just who she is. She's motivated that way.
It sounds good.
Really your life when the camera's shut off and the phone goes down and the internet's not running. You've got to live with your decisions and you've got to be comfortable with what you do based only on what you think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to tell anyone, and I kind of hate that about our industry. Everyone tells everyone how to run their business.
Oh, boy.
You know what?
You've been on idea sharing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, I mean, Eric, all kidding aside.
Don't even go there. No, I don't.
It comes down to that. Like, how much did you charge? $1,000. You didn't charge enough. Dude, you're not me. You're not in my shoes. You're not in my market. You're not doing the gig.
Right.
I can't tell you how many people say that to me. I'm like, look, I'm okay with what I'm charging. I'm fine with it. Could I get more? Maybe.
Yeah, but you know what? I really tend to doubt lawyers ever sit around and go, how much an hour are you charging? $350. Oh, my God,
right.
$100. They don't have the time. They're professionals. Yeah. They do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad part is we're so judgmental about everyone else's rig, everyone else's lighting. Oh, do you believe he uses that facade? Oh my God, look at the cable management. But you can't even post a photo on Facebook or Instagram without someone tearing it apart. Like, oh my God, Howie, that's all you're using? I learned this 20 years ago when I heard you don't use a sub. I'm like, no, I use two 15-inch powered speakers turned to 10. And I've never had anyone say they didn't sound good or not loud enough.
Right.
That's the problem. Well, in my market, I'm not in your market. I'm driving a convertible. What? You don't have an Astro van? No, I wanted the convertible more than I wanted the Astro van. And I had to pay a price for it. But guess what? I made the payments on the car and I made the payments on the price I paid. And that's just the way it goes.
Sure.
Like, get over it. So, I mean, it's going to come down to you're going to figure out the waters you're in now and go, okay, guess what? This, the Evolve 12s are great speakers. The bass is a little heavy. So maybe it's time to look at the Evolve 30s. You talk to Mike Doucette, you tell him, you say something, you do this, you do that, you sell one piece of gear, you trade some knowledge. Boom, now you're using smaller system. Then boom, now you're using a smaller controller.
Oh, but the 30Ms aren't good for over 100 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Asked my 250 people a couple weeks ago at the Quinceañera how the two Evolve 12 sounded.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
50s.
Right.
Yeah.
All
250
50s, yeah.
people.
Oh, sure.
Evolve 12s.
Evolve
Well,
50s, bro.
Evolve
before
50s.
Evolve
Yeah.
50s.
With a 12-inch bottom. I'm saying.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, guys, I don't know when this is going to be posted.
You'll probably be retired by then.
No, I
It
thought,
won't even matter.
if it goes up in 2 weeks, because the virtual training is next week, I think it's worth mentioning that we, as a collective group here, except Eric won't be able to make it this time, but everybody else in this panel, we're going to be at Beret in Atlantic City during Expo, and
JC will be there.
we're having a chill night on Tuesday the 9th, and it'll go from probably 7:38 until midnight, and that's it.
Nice.
So
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Get down there. Be sure to stop in and see us.
I will not be doing shots of tequila.
stop in and see us. So
I will not be drinking a pina colada on the beach. I mean,
Going on record
think
now.
I will be. I will
Yeah.
be.
My
You will be.
management has told me no tequila at Beret this year. I've already had a
tequila,
meeting.
No.
You were on time last year. No, you weren't. No.
No.
At least not 6 fingers of tequila. At least
No,
we want
yeah.
to go a little soft.
Jay, you want this? Sure, Howie. Thanks.
This looks like a glass of Sprite. You're like, Jesus,
Yeah.
this is tequila.
Yeah, right.
Tequila.
What's that in the bottom? It's not a maggot.
Jesus.
All right. Thank you all for helping out tonight. And as always, if you have a topic you would like us to cover, leave it in the comment section whenever this goes up in a week or two. And we will be happy to oblige you on that.
Get off track.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all very much.